Let's take you live to Brisbane. The opposition leader David Crisafulli is delivering his budget reply in this crucial election year.
The government's slogan for this budget is doing what matters, yet they are now telling Queenslanders what they have done in the past no longer matters. The record shows this government did not do what mattered when it mattered, and Queenslanders are paying for that fact today. Let me remind the government of their record because Queenslanders are living it today. That's why it matters. The Queensland housing crisis, the Queensland youth crime crisis, the Queensland health crisis, the Queensland cost of living crisis. With a past like this, it's little wonder a government would attempt to run miles from its record. With a past like this, Queenslanders won't want to forget. Queenslanders have lived this government's failures and they are living it today. The victims of these crises can't forget. To this Labor government, I say to them, victims of the housing crisis matter. Victims of the cost of living crisis matter. Victims of the health crisis matter. And victims of the youth crime crisis, they matter. People affected by the failures of this government matter. People matter. We believe the crises facing Queenslanders are about people. It's only when we talk to these people that we develop our policies. And to me, the solution to these crises, they don't lie in George Street. They lie in the communities suffering through them. These are not trivial issues where a government spits out 5 different plans in 4 years. These crises are not a laughing matter. Certainly the youth crime crisis isn't a laughing matter. Mr Speaker, over the last 4 years, I've watched this government rush to meet political cycles, lurching from one position to the next, different groups being blamed, different problems, but they've been of their making. And that is not my style of leadership. This is why I've spent my 4 years as opposition leader meeting people, not just in boardrooms, but in the community, through public events like our 39 health crisis town halls. I've done this because I want our team out listening to the issues that matter and to put forward ways to solve them. This approach has given our team early insight into the problems facing Queensland. When we first started raising these issues with Queensland Health, we were accused by the government of making up stories. When we started raising youth crime as an issue, the government said it was a beat-up. When we started to warn about the impending cost of living issues, the government said we were doomsdayers. When we started talking about the increasing number of people living in tents, we were mocked. These issues were not as front and centre when we started talking about them, but through the strength of the victims of these crises and their stories that we had the privilege to share, we dragged these issues into the spotlight. Mr Speaker, this is the formula for leadership I have tried to follow. If you want to know the issues affecting Queenslanders, you have to listen to them. You need to understand what matters to them. Throughout my discussions with Queenslanders, I have found them to be thoughtful and practical people. They are willing to share their ideas, but also understand these crises have been created over the past 9 years and the solutions won't happen overnight. They understand their leaders will make mistakes and they will forgive those errors if their leaders are focused on the interests of Queenslanders rather than their own political interests. They will not forgive a government that runs miles from its record. They will not forgive a government whose definition of doing what matters means the experiences of Queenslanders they govern don't matter.